Welcome, wanderers, light workers, seekers on the path, and all awakening beings. This is the Sons of the Law of One podcast, episode 1, Ra Speaks from the Miracle. Last year, at the end of October, my wife and I went on an adventure. We went on a Caribbean cruise, and this was the first cruise for either one of us. Neither one of us had ever had a desire to go on a cruise, but this one was special. We went with David Wilcock and a group of about 20 other seekers, and we were going to walk the sacred ruins of the Maya. Specifically, we were to visit Chichen Itza, a site that held special meaning for David. But there were forces at work that had other plans. As we boarded out of Tampa, a little storm named Wilma was reaching the lowest recorded pressure in history, the strongest storm ever recorded. And it ripped into our destination of Cozumel, which was the embarking point for the trip inland to Chichen Itza. Needless to say, Wilma tore up the place, leaving many stranded. Our first night at sea was quite an experience. The Carnival Miracle came within 160 miles of the eye. There was a lot of unidentified noises coming from outside over the balcony of the cabin. It was an initiation, I can tell you. We were rerouted to Belize, where we visited the Mayan site, Altan Ha. There's a short video up on the site, shot and edited by my talented wife, Deborah, with some shots of the ruins. On the return trip, our last night at sea, David did a raw channeling in his cabin concerning our adventure, but of course it has a universal message. So here is David.
I am Ra. It is an honor and a privilege to greet you this day in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. Resonant raindrops of liquid light cascading down in a panoply of shapes and colors, unbeknownst to the conscious mind. The world of energy that you dance through may be invisible to your physical eyes of the flesh, but to the inner eye of soul, there are tides and currents of change and transformation that ripple through the collective consciousness of Earth, much like a hot air balloon rises through layers of the atmosphere, some warmer and some colder. As you go on this sacred journey into yourself, through these places in time, you experience more than just a reunion with aspects of yourself long ago distanced. You have the opportunity to experience directly other areas of the Earth's grid, wherein there are unique vortices of cosmic influx, bespeaking of a variety of cultures and heritages, both past and present and future. This time on the planet is one of spontaneous regeneration, of many forgotten truths and teachings. It is a time in which the future and the past begin melding together as one. For the science of the ancient civilizations, those who had gone before, is again becoming renewed, clearer and clearer to the minds of those who awaken on the brink of a new dawning for humanity. For this time, this place, is not one of failure. It is not one in which you look at the weather changes, and the political changes, and the economic changes, and the social changes, with a scorning eye of disdain, but rather one of hopefulness, optimism, peace, and truth in the knowingness of the longevity of the human soul, which it cannot be defiled, cannot be divided, will always and ever remain a point of power that uniquely situates you in the present moment if you but allow it to pour forth from that everlasting cornucopia of oneness that seems to be shrouded in mystery for the short time that you remain encased in flesh. There is a life beyond this life in which the limbs of the tree of knowledge stretch forth into the heavens, and once more you intermingle with the clouds themselves and become one with the resonant goodness of this creation in all of its many multiplicities of form and contrast. Yours is an awakening world, and with the awakening comes the pangs of remembrance of long ages since forgotten, in which there was a greater connection to others and to your own higher self. Much as the body of the tropical fish slices through the waters without ever thinking that the waters even exist, so too do you move through the world of spirit, and rarely if ever notice that in fact this energy of consciousness is not a philosophical abstraction constrained within the boundaries of unwieldy mathematical equations from physicists whose musings are far from a conceptual model that others can actually understand. This is a living science. It is a science that allows your consciousness to centralize to a point of stillness and peace and equilibrium within yourself. It is a science of consciousness that brings out the noblest qualities in your character. For as you learn to find your car keys, you realize that it's not so difficult getting a parking spot as much as it is taking the initiative to get back into that vehicle that moves forward, to go boldly where no one has gone before, and to find the new frontier, to seek beyond limitations imposed by your day-to-day life, by the constraints of working in a box, living in a box, being entertained by a colored glass box, and eating out of a box. The box breaks down, and rolling fields and verdant green emerald forests rise into view with the splendor of a million suns that have nourished them, patterns of twinkling light in the night sky, for you are a cosmic being, not alone in this creation, in this cosmos. There is so much company all around you, and it is certainly worth your while to remember that fact. You have this galaxy, which is a loose arrangement of all the stars that you see in your solar system, and in other solar systems just like it. And that galaxy is but one pinprick in an unbelievable multitude of others like it. Each galaxy is in and of itself a creator in its own right, capable of setting forth a series of templates, archetypes, by which soul evolution will be determined. Each soul goes through these archetypal patterns of enlightenment and development. And by learning those archetypes, as expressed in the 22 cards of the major arcana of the Tarot deck, you learn about all of the classic experiences that will come your way from one moment to the next, and find out that some kitties don't need a scratching post in order to make sure that their claws are sharp. Some animals have the capability to go into the wild, to their natural habitat, no longer feeling in captivity by the fact that you have a physical body, no longer needing to sharpen your claws on television and other mundane forms of entertainment. You can still bring that body of yours outside the box, go somewhere new and exciting, experience the energies of a foreign land, meet the people, shake their hands, smell their skin, look into their eyes, and feel something. Feel that connection, feel that bond, and feel the trust that can arise. You can go on this journey in your own mind, and you can travel there in the physical if you desire. And as the horn blows, signifying the trumpets of revelation, the revelation of all that has remained hidden, as the seals are opened, and as the gateway to the entrance to fourth density is made plain, be not afraid of those hungry ghosts that curl up by the curbside of your road to enlightenment. Look not into their disheveled faces, but forward, onward and upward. For there are those you can focus your attention on at this time. There are those who are learning and are benefiting from the service that you give them. So when you place your service in a direction that is of benefit to those who are making good use of it, and good being determined by the fact that they too are growing spiritually, then you know that you are on the right track. Bear in mind that you may also discover yourself becoming attached and tethered to others who only seek to extract from you whatever you will give. And it is all too easy for them to take advantage of your kind and courteous nature, and in so doing flip the coin heads or tails, while rigging the game so that they somehow always end up winning in the end. There is a time to withdraw from a situation. There is a time to pull back. There is a time to create space. There is a time to feed yourself strawberries, to allow yourself time to relax, time to be in a peaceful moment of solitude. Life doesn't always offer you those opportunities, and therefore we suggest that you learn to create them, even if they otherwise would not exist. For you are the one who chooses to feel stress in your day-to-day existence. You are the one who does not allow the natural blossoming of experience to unfold like a beautiful flower in your hand, warmed by the sun, and the teardrops of water that trickle down from the sky. This is your life, and you can plunge down to the depths of the crystal blue ocean and find that pearl of greatest price that is locked within your emotional body. For by cleansing the emotions, by realizing how much the emotions are attached to the body, and how much they wish to preserve the sanctity and security of the body, you can allow some of that burden to lighten. Realize that you are far more than just the ego mind with which you think and react. There are aspects of your being that are far greater in their grandiose scope and focus than you could ever conceive of, because the neurological capacity of your own higher self is many orders of magnitude greater than could ever be contained within the limited constraints of the human brain. And yet the fact that you are with limitation is part of your sacred journey. At this stage of your development, you have chosen this body, chosen this life, chosen this incarnation to learn lessons. One of those basic lessons is that you do have a world of cause and effect. That cause and effect principle is not some impersonal universal law that has no mitigation involved. It is very carefully balanced out and weighted out by those who are looking at both sides of the story and trying to determine what is best for you. There are committees that meet over your life and discuss what path to take next. If you are on a path of spiritual awakening, trust us when we tell you that there are board meetings, there are issues to discuss, there are agendas to raise, there are a variety of approaches that are hypothetically thought about and tossed around before they are actually put into practice. And yet in many cases we find the inhibitions of fear prevent others from going to the places and meeting the people that would quite naturally bring them to the next step. So we encourage you to be fluid and mobile. We encourage you to be open to new experiences. We encourage you not to fall into the storied old habit patterns of the way things always have been done, where you always are at a certain point in time, at a certain day, in a certain place. It's okay to add random acts of unexpected twists to the storyline of your life. It's okay to do something totally different. It's okay to take a dinner, an ordinary event, and just get up and go. Get into the car, go somewhere, do something totally unexpected. Spontaneity can be a wonderful thing in life. It can be a wonderful experience to allow that feeling of being on vacation to carry with you. Because in reality, we expect nothing less than the best from you. And every day, every moment of every day is a vacation. Once you attain the consciousness that you have never been separated from the Creator. You have always been one. There is no boundary distinction between yourself and the others around you. You are whole, and you are pure, and you are complete in this moment. That is the greater truth that eviscerates those who do not choose to be honest with themselves, but can also become your greatest asset and ally under the proper circumstances. And that propriety is determined by your own ability to step beyond the blockages of the emotional body, which come up by the reactions that you choose to have to the events in your life. You choose to feel hurt. You choose to feel guilty. You choose to feel fear. You choose to feel betrayed. You choose to feel anger and rage. These emotions do not need to happen. They are the manifestations of your ego when it is a state of imbalance. And that state of imbalance can be created by a variety of different factors that all coalesce together to make you who you are. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to embrace your distortions. And once you become aware of what those distortions are, honoring the fact that this is your sacred quest, this is your sacred path, you can also learn to step beyond them. You can learn to see a bigger picture, to move outside the limited definition of the fisheye lens of life that once seemed to be so all-encompassing, to realize that it is only but a peephole in the doorway, and the door is now opening, and as it opens, beams of light shine forth upon you, filling you with radiant peace and happiness, reminding you of all that you are, because you are truly loved more than you could ever possibly imagine. Your divine grace and splendor is unchallenged to us. We feel nothing but peace and warmth and love and acceptance of you. And it is so difficult for us to truly express that when there is so much chaos and turmoil and dis-ease upon your planet. It is not easy for us to convey to you the full scope to which you are being served and guided and protected. Certainly you can look at your life and see events that happen that are unpleasant, and recognize that this law of karma that at times brings those challenging events into your life only does so in its attempt to bring you back into balance once more. For when you achieve balance, you achieve a state of preservation, of that remembrance of your true identity. So in balance, you remember who you are. And that memory is a glorious gift that many souls lost in depravity upon your planet can only attempt to throw money at, and sometimes lots and lots and lots of money, in an attempt to buy their way into the happiness that seems to be so spontaneous and natural to others. It is all too common for you to look upon certain people who seem to have a good life on earth, and imagine for a moment what it would be like if you were in their shoes, and think how much better your life might be. Yet your own statisticians have shown time and time again that the excess of profits, the excess of money, and the compulsive pursuit of same oftentimes leads to a shackled prison of the mind that is no better than any other experience. As we did say on the What Is My Purpose CD, one of David's clients was in a trailer park, and on the same day he had another client who had a mansion. And it was very difficult to tell the two apart because their mindset and their issues and their struggles were almost identical. This was not to insult those who have very little money or those who have a great deal of money, as each person finds themselves at a state that they need to be in for that level of their learning curriculum. It is okay to have desires. It is okay to seek something. It is okay to pursue ways in which you can be more comfortable. Providing, of course, that if you desire to be on the positive path, you bear in mind that these efforts can always be adjusted in such a means as to figure out time and again how you may better be of service to others, how you may better become an embodiment of the very principles that you teach and espouse to others. This is not a time of failure and regret, but a time of opening the eyes to the newness of the wonder that this earth will become. For when this shift to fourth density that is so well anticipated and prophesied actually happens, you do not leave the earth. The earth does not become uninhabitable by any means. The earth becomes activated for life in fourth density, a life that is easily 100 times more harmonious than your life on earth now could ever be. The planet itself is transformed, becomes new, becomes whole in a way that it never before has understood. Because the planet itself is a sentient, conscious being. And that being right now is still a third density being that is awakening to fourth density. In some ways, you could think of the earth like a person. It has feelings, it has fears, it has doubts. But unlike each human being, it is on a set linearized curriculum of evolution, where its graduation day is known precisely in advance. It can be timed very accurately. The earth moves through its growth pains, and many of you will find yourselves tuning in to its energies and essences, finding the roots of your being going deep down into the center of the earth itself. Your guidance and your connection can make you stronger and purer and more complete as you learn to work with this ally, this sentient being that loves you and that provides you with fertile soil, with vegetables and fruits, with the animals of the field, the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, and all the plentiful bounty that is the birthright of each person who comes here to be able to share in this natural abundance. As you have seen in your sojourns on earth, it is a beautiful place with emerald green forests and alpine mountains, with rollicking sand dunes and little crabs that scuttle along the surface, with great ancient landworks, with rainforests, with tall, gigantic trees, beautiful Adirondack forests, rolling green mountains, and also at times thrusting mountains, bold and stone-hewn from the very bowels of the earth itself. There are areas where there are hurricanes, there are areas where there are typhoons and mudslides, volcanoes, etc. But these areas are not simply defined by what goes wrong in them. They are defined by the activity and the energy that is pulsing through them, the very heartbeat of this planet. Imagine yourself now smiling with this sentient being, because it smiles at you. It feels you as you walk upon its surface, its back. It is with you. It thinks with you, it feels with you. Wherever you go, you are intimately connected to it. And you can help that being by working through your own issues in your own life. Sometimes you may have these grandiose goals for yourself and think that you cannot accept yourself as you are unless you accomplish X, Y, and Z in a certain linear order. But this is only a partial truth. For outside of all your ambitions and outside of all the lofty goals that you may have set for yourself, there is a moment. There is a peaceful moment that exists right now as you hear these words, and in that moment is completion. In that moment is renewal. In that moment is glory and joy and bounty and happiness. It is a peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace that empties forth from the collective consciousness of this universe if you simply allow yourself to be one with its energy and its essence. There's nothing very difficult about this. These shoes are soft and comfortable. They are not wooden and hard and difficult to walk in. And you know this path, my friend, for you've walked it on many occasions. You have been to the mountaintops. You have been through the deserts. You have swum the seas and the oceans, and the freshwater lakes, rivers, and streams. You have been among the rocks, been among the soils, been among the growing crops. You've had lifetimes where you farmed these crops, milled the grains, and created the bread with your own hands, baking it up in a clay-fired oven so as to heal others with the glory that rises forth when you combine your own energies in such a way as to provide sustenance to others. And that divine gift, that manna from the heavens, reaches down now as it is tangibly able to be experienced in this moment with your own reconciliation of all these different pathways of seeking. Sometimes you assigned yourself too many goals, too many ambitions, and it's okay to come to a grander scope where you can just accept yourself for who you are and for how you've been, and move on to the next step. Don't take yourself under such a microscope. Some of those goals were formed from a time that you hadn't fully awakened spiritually, so that you now can understand that you can simply be yourself. You can just be, and beingness is enough. For in your beingness, in the radiant peace of simply being you, you have fulfilled all of the conflicts, you have satisfied all of the dangling question marks, and you know the future, because it is the present, it is the now. This process of ascension we so often speak of need not be far away from you. You can but stretch forth your hand and experience it in this moment. The healing energy is available in plentiful abundance for all those who would seek it. And that process cannot be undermined. It cannot be shortchanged. It is always and ever omnipresent. And it is available for you. So take a few moments as you hear these words to let yourself have some deep breaths. Feel the gratitude for the earth. Feel the gratitude for the sacred places where the earth's energies have been honored with ancient structures and ancient peoples who worked in harmony with this creation. You are the new tribe. You are coming together, each in your own way, with the awakening body of humanity that will occupy this new world that is forming. And you need not be fearful about it. You need not allow your emotions to be clouded and muddied up by the worry that plagues so many others. For all is happening on schedule. All is happening according to a perfect plan. And as you breathe your own ascension through every fiber of your being, you come to a greater and greater consciousness of the full capacity that you have to accept yourself just as you are, in the glory and in the beauty and in the wonder that that makes you truly yourself. And that self is with a capital S, because ultimately you are not anything other than one with this entire cosmos. Even the energy of the cosmos is conscious, and it fuses with you. There is no separation. For us, we cannot see it any other way. In your own realm, you have the opportunity to experience apparent separation, to feel lonely, isolated, and abandoned. But this is but a fleeting moment in time. It is a moment that can be transcended when you just allow the peace to empty forth and fill you with the renewal, fill you with the promise of who you were always meant to be. And that is such a glorious thing, such a glorious event, that there is nothing but wonder in its realization. We are so very grateful to have had the opportunity to share these messages of peace and hope with you this day, and want to trust that this will always be remembered, that you may always know that you are loved more than you could ever possibly imagine. If you share that with us, then you have assimilated a very significant percentage of the entire message. We thank you and remind you that you are loved more than you could ever possibly imagine. Peace be with you in the light of everlasting love. We will now return conscious control of this physical body to the one known as David, and we thank you. Adonai, and Amen. Okay, this is David, and I'm back. I wanted to thank you all for coming on this cruise. It's been wonderful. I've had a great time. We've shared a lot. We've laughed. And I really enjoyed myself, and I hope you did too. Well, that just about does it for our reading here. It's been a pleasure and privilege to work with all of you. I thank you for that. So now I'm going to get this thing done and roll on over and go to sleep. So, we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye for now.
David's site is divinecosmos.com, and the podcast site is thesonsofthelawof1.com. There you can send comments, suggestions, and contributions. That's all for now. Love and light to all.